Wajir County in northeastern Kenya. It spans more than 55,000 square kilometers, a vast stretch of open grasslands and arid plains. According to the 2019 census, the county was home to over 780,000 people, a number that's likely to have grown in the years since. Wajir town sits near the center of Wajir County and is the nerve center of local governance, trade and daily life. But here, a hidden crisis flows beneath the surface, threatening the health and future of an entire community. It's not just the sand that suffocates this region, it's the lack of proper sanitation worsened by unforgiving topography and a changing climate. This is Earthwise. My name is Zainab Ismail. Wajir County's flat, impermeable topography has turned sanitation into a public health concern. Tonight on Earthwise, we uncover how a lack of infrastructure and the intensifying impacts of climate change are putting lives at risk.
The problem that we're seeing right now on sanitation issues, what are some of these things that are really concerning?
Sanitation is a matter of great concern. And the only way where we can improve that is by getting a proper sewage system in this town. Wakati mimi nilikuwa kijana mdogo, hii town ilikuwa ni ndogo sana. Ilikuwa na only line 4 lines. Na katika hii town kulikuwa na date trees ambayo ilikuwa kwa line and it was very beautiful. Lakini wakati huo mimi nimepata Wajir sanitation system yake ilikuwa ni bucket toilet. Nilipoulizwa kwa nini, nilimwambia once upon a time Wajir, millions of years ago, Wajir was something like a sea. Na ishara hiyo inaonyesha kwamba kuna limestone katika hii town. Na hii limestone watu walikuwa wanatumia shallow wells ambayo ikichimbwa 8 to 10 feet unapata maji. Hiyo ndio imesababisha watu watumie bucket toilet ili maji isiwe contaminated. Mji ilipoanza kupanuka, sasa watu wakifikiria wale watu walikuwa na nafasi yao wakaanza kuchimba sewage. Lakini nearly 80% of the town ni walahoi na bado wanatumia ile bucket system. Na hii imelete ugonjwa nyingi kama kalasa, iko typhoid na mambo kama hii. Now climate change imeaffect sana hii town. Not only town, pia imeaffect wale wafugaji. Maji imekuwa very scarce. Na zamani tulikuwa tuna 2 rainy seasons, the long rains and the short rains. Wakati nilikuwa mtoto hizo zinapatikana on time, lakini sasa hazipatikani. Na ikipatikana inanyesha kidogo sana, whereby sasa drought and famine imekuwa order of the day.
So what exactly is the bucket toilet system? It's a sanitation method long abandoned in most parts of the country, but still the norm here. In the absence of a functioning sewage system, many homes use buckets or shallow pits as toilets. These containers are then emptied manually, often at night, and dumped into a large pit at the town's only dump site, about 5 kilometers away. It's unsanitary, dangerous, and growing more so with the changing climate.
Hii kazi tunafanya ni kazi ya usiku, kuokota mandoo hutumiwa na wananchi kwa kujisaidia usiku. Sehemu ile tunafanya kazi ni zaidi ya section 47 katika Wajir municipality area wise. Changamoto tunafanya kazi naye ni 16. Kunayo wafanya kazi tunaanzanga saa 1:30 wanaenda kuokota, na trakta inatoka hapa saa 2:30 kuokota hadi saa 6 ya usiku. Ndio baada kwa trakta inaenda kumagwa kwa dam site unaelekea kama saa 6:30 usiku. So in every week, every day we go from 5 to 7 up to all of lines within the town. So we cover almost 47 lines in a week. And that's about like 2,000 packets in a week.
So 2,000 buckets in 1 week.
Yeah.
So how many households? Mutachukua bucket from how many households approximately?
It's like 2,000 households. 2,000 households per week. Now per day we go to from 150 to 200 per week, per day.
You have to empty 150 to 200 buckets.
Yes, buckets a day.
When rains do come, heavy and erratic, they flood these waste sites, sometimes spreading raw sewage into the streets, homes, and even water sources.
Mvua kinyesha, maji haina drainage hii mji ambaye maji inaenda kupotea. Kwa ni flat. Unasikia ile toilet zinaingia maji. Ile sort ambayo ilitengenezwa kwa chini ya ardhi, maji zinaingia, ile maji ile zinatembea. Hiyo maji zinatembea inaenda kila wapi? Kila mahali. Saa nyingine wanaingia ndani ya kisima. Shida hiyo ni bado tuko nayo. Hapa Wajir kitu kubwa ambaye tabu yetu ni kitu mbili. Moja ni mambo ya system ya hiyo environment ya toilet. Ya pili mambo ya maji. Watu hawapati maji safi. Maji hii sio maji tamu. Ni maji ambaye hata kupika naye chakula si mzuri, kama kitu kama chai au kitu kama hiyo.
When I was a child in Wajir, in 80s and 70s, I remember Wajir, the population was not as big as it is today. We had about 20 or 30,000 people by then. But the population has gone tenfold now. People used to live in villages without toilet systems. They used to do open defecation. Only few people had toilets, the ones who were living within the CBD of Wajir town. The rest used to live in what's called manyatas. We had a manyata in Bulahodan, Bulojogo, Wagberi, and many others. So most of the population, out of the probably 20,000, only about 200 or 300 people could manage toilet facilities. The bucket latrine is one thing that has been there for many, many years, because the British, the people who govern this place, believed that Wajir could not sustain any other sanitation method because of the shallow wells. You know, historically, this is something that was inherited, that the use of bucket latrines, which is uncouth, unhealthy, and also not good, especially our ladies. It's not good for our ladies and our daughters, not for anybody, I may say. It is a primitive way. I think in the world, Wajir is the third place, other than as a place in India and another place, I don't know where, in Brazil or where, Wajir is the third place in the world which only bucket latrines are used.
Outbreaks of waterborne diseases like cholera and dysentery are common here, especially during rainy seasons. The link between poor sanitation and climate extremes is direct and deadly.
Wajir is one of the counties in Kenya with a unique problem of sanitation. We all know that the economical status of the people, coupled with the landscape in terms of water, the availability of water, in terms of the shallowness of the water, may not be able to have a proper sanitary systems in this county. People are opting to have what you call septic tanks, and if not properly moderated, may lead to what you call mixing of the fecal matter into the wells, the shallow wells. That's why the public health play a pivotal role. The county government of Wajir has been putting a lot of emphasis in this, especially in areas we don't have proper toilets. We have what you call a program called Open Defecation Free System, mostly done in our villages. So far, right now, we are currently doing verification of 35 new villages, totaling to 123 villages.
So open defecation is also still a problem?
Yes, obviously it's a problem, especially in the outskirts where the low economic status. Especially remember, in our culture, I mean in our society or our lifestyle, mostly is what you call nomadic lifestyle. People moving from one village to another, creation of new settlement, so which is not properly planned. So people come and settle whenever the animals die, or they are, because of the cyclic droughts, animals die. So what people do, they do normally have settlements.
Are there any alternative methods to deal with this sewage that comes from the households?
For sure it is. Through water and sanitation program. Water and there are two distinct departments that have cross-cuttingly joined together in the effort of providing sanitary, proper sanitation. You are aware in this county we have dug a lot of boreholes in aspect of having clean water, drinking water for our community. Likewise, we are putting a lot of sanitation. So if you see in the current budget, close to 20 million is coming in terms of sanitary aspects. That includes female proper disposals of what you call menstrual hygiene. You know this, what you call menstrual hygiene also itself is becoming a problem. You remember most of the girls, especially in the rural facilities, may not be well aware of how to utilize or how to use sanitary pads. So there's a program also that helps them to understand better utilization of this and the disposal of this. Itself is a solid waste. It has to be catered. It's part of the sanitation we are talking about, and it has to be catered for. So that's one aspect we are also doing as part of the Department of Health, and we are collaborating with education and also in other vital departments like water.
According to the World Health Organization, poor sanitation contributes to 1.5 million deaths annually from diarrheal diseases globally, with children bearing the biggest brunt. In Kenya, 70% of rural communities still lack access to proper sanitation facilities. And so in Wajir, where 70% of the population still relies on this rudimentary method, the risks are even higher, especially as climate-driven floods spread contaminants further. Years of drought and erratic weather patterns have strained both water and sanitation systems, systems that for many here never existed to begin with. The bucket toilet is more than an inconvenience. It's a symbol of the forgotten infrastructure in a county bearing the brunt of climate change. The residents here say they need more than temporary aid. They need investment in basic human dignity.
All right, so this is the dump site where the waste from the bucket toilets gets dumped. It's about 5.6 kilometers from Wajir town, and it serves the thousands who live inside the town and even its environs. It's quite massive, as you can see. So the dump from the waste from across the town gets dumped here, and including from the bucket toilet just a few meters from where we are right now.
Flood ikikuja na maji hata even those ones in the sewage maji yanajaa hapo ndani. Kwa hivyo you can see how that water will be contaminated.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is very smelly in this town during floods. You cannot walk. Unasikia harufu kila mahali, very dirty water, and that's why you get a lot of sickness, diarrhea, and so many diseases.
Yeah.
Now we have a lot of problems,
Yeah.
which really needs to be seen deeply by all NGOs
Yeah.
or the national government who care for the health of our people.
2010, 2005, 2006, a group of people from what was called village health committees was sent to Uganda to study what is called eco-san latrines, eco-friendly latrines, which is not different from the bucket latrines, but is a place where the human defecation is put in a chamber that heats it up and makes the waste dry. They studied that in Uganda. They came back now, knowing that most Somalis now are Muslims. They do not want their stools to be used as manure or anything else. But in Uganda, they use that human waste as a manure. So the Somalis say this one we will not accept. It was difficult to sell the idea. But if you go to some houses today, they still use that eco-san toilets. The poor ones are still using the bucket latrines. And the poorest of the poor are still using open defecation. If you go to some villages today, some families have got no toilets. What do? They either use the neighborhood or they defecate openly. My recommendation is that a proper survey should be done as to where we can get enough water to do the sewerage facilities.
Generally, the sanitation system in Wajir County is in a very dire state due to the topography of the land, which is generally flat and very sandy. We were not able to have conventional sewer systems. Currently, they are just being dumped into the dump site. There's no treatment currently. The only thing we did was to save the site through a perimeter fence so that nobody goes in. But of course, that was what has led to these changes. So the county thought about it, and we requested for fund through the water company. The governor sought for fundings, and then we got a support from the World Bank. Now we are going to have a fecal sludge treatment plant that is going to treat or address the sanitation system in Wajir town.
What does it involve, and basically when is it going to be operational?
The new plan involves is highly technical project. It is what will happen is that the waste will be collected here through the use of exhausters. As you can see, we have a couple of them there. So the exhausters will dump into the dump site, into the entry bay, and then from there, the liquid and the waste. Liquid waste and the solid waste will be separated. It will go after several stages. Finally, a clean water will come out, which will be released into the environment, which is very safe, so that the trees and everything can grow there perfectly. And the solid waste can be used, will be put at dry. The system will put the solid waste aside, dry them, and then the final products can be modeled to briquettes, where we can use for either firewood or manure, or it can even create employment. It's very helpful if the plan goes very well.
How much is this project costing, and how big is it?
The project is very big. We planned in phases. This is phase 1, which is going to take care of the populace of Wajir County in the next 20 years. And then after that, we might expand. But for the next 20 years, what we're planning is perfect.
So this project is happening at the dump site?
Yes.
That is About 5.6 kilometers away
Yes.
from the town, yeah?
Correct.
Isn't that a concern, a risk perhaps? Isn't it too near to the town?
First of all, that's a good question. It could be a bit near to the town, but we were advised, even by the environment, creating more west sides is more hazardous than living this side. Because if we leave this side and go to another side, what will happen to this? Because the following day you will see kids going into it, animals going into it, all the rubbish coming back to the town. So instead of that, we found it best to treat it. Together with even the previous waste will be treated. The ones that are coming will also be treated. The site will be, there will be no smell, there will be no rubbish. So it's going to be like, even if it's going to be in the center of the town, it will not matter at all, if the plan goes well.
In a region where resilience is part of daily life, the people of Wajir are not asking for much. Just reliable clean water, safe and sustainable sanitation, and a chance to live with dignity despite the climate crisis that surrounds them. Zainab Ismail, Earthwise, NTV.
Would you like to interact with us? Earthwise would love to hear from you.